Welcome to the latest edition of RPPV News, bringing you the news from across the Mornington Peninsula. I'm Catie Sharp, and our top stories for this edition are: a series of fire-related incidents keep the peninsula at high risk of fire danger. More trouble for the beleaguered Frankston train line as industrial action threatens further delays. Mornington Peninsula Shire clashes with the Environment Department over what they see as an excess of land handed over for development. An identical twin discovers blood is not thicker than driving penalties. And what is the most popular dog breed in your part of the peninsula? Now for the full stories. While fires continue to burn across Australia, 51 Mornington Peninsula property owners have been fined for failing to comply with fire prevention notices. Of 2,500 properties inspected by Shire officers last year, 670 were issued with notices detailing work to be done, such as getting rid of long dry grass, fallen vegetation and weeds. Anyone who fails to comply with the notices by the deadline will be fined $1,600, along with the cost of contractors hired by the Shire to carry out the work. Meanwhile, Red Hill residents are furious with the decision by Dandenong CFA to grant a fireworks display permit for a wedding party in Red Hill last week. The celebration was hosted by the Linden Dairy Hotel. After an angry response from local residents, the hotel has revised its policies and has now banned all fireworks displays during high fire danger seasons, regardless of permits. Arson Squad detectives are investigating after a fire ripped through the Dodgem Car Arcade at the Rosebud Carnival in the early hours of January 24th. An explosion caused $500,000 of damage to the ride, destroying 13 cars and bringing down the roof. An accelerant was used to start the blaze, and police say CCTV footage shows a group of youths near the site on Point Nepean Road. Planned repair work is beginning this week at Rosebud Beach to counter the effects of erosion. Some 10,000 cubic metres of sand will be dredged from offshore sandbars and shifted to the beach. The Department of Environment, Land, Water and Planning calls the work a sustainable method of protecting the beaches with minimal disruption to locals and the environment. The work is being carried out east of the pier and will be completed in early March. Similar works was successfully carried out late last year at Rosebud West. Part of the Fisherman's Beach boat ramp appears to be crumbling into the sea while dredge works are carried out. An RPP producer was visiting the beach when he noticed damage to the bluestone wall, and the RPP news crew headed down to Mornington to capture this footage. It is believed the damage was caused by recent storms. After the break, more drama for the Frankston train line.
We're Victorians. We know fire. We know how devastating a bushfire can be to this beautiful state.
We know they can spread quickly, but we can't predict when or where they'll happen.
And even though it's rare, when the fire danger rating is extreme or above, you shouldn't travel to high-risk areas.
So we know you should check the fire danger rating every day. How well do you know fire?
Authorised by the Victorian Government.
Hi, I'm Courtney Northrop, Branch Manager of the Children in Coastal Villages Community Bank Branch. And here's some of our team. Hi. We're Australia's 5th largest bank, with a full range of banking products and services. And we're staying true to our values, giving back through our community investment program. So if your bankers are doing the right thing by you, change to one you can feel better about. So visit us here in Turin.
Battery World now open in Mornington.
We know batteries. We know our 75 D23Ls from our DIN 65 LHs. And we know which is best for you. We have the range and a spark no one else can match, because we live and breathe batteries. Those beautiful boxes and cylinders that power our lives and our passions. That's why we're the batteryologists. We're Battery World.
Battery World Shop 1, 43 Mornington Tyre Road, Mornington.
stand-downs, threats of industrial action and boycotts of the Frankston, Dandenong and Pakenham lines hangs over the Metro's southern eastern train services. So far, Fairfax reports almost 50 train drivers have been stood down by the rail operator in an escalating standoff between the Workers' Union and Metro over claims of inadequate training. The dispute involves driving procedures along a new section of track between South Yarra and Hawkesburn stations. This will be added pressure on the Frankston line, which is already a limited service as it undergoes extensive works. Mornington Peninsula Shire is taking the Department of Environment, Land, Water and Planning to task over the amount of industrial and commercial land it says must be put aside for future development. Mayor Sam Hearn told MP News the council must protect the peninsula's unique landscape by having the power to decide how much land is set aside for commercial and industrial purposes. The Shire says the Delworth estimates are wrong and blames the state government for changing planning laws and allowing shops and supermarkets to operate within industrial zones. The pillars in Mount Martha have long been a popular cliff jump for tourists, but both the council and locals have been working to change this. Track closures and updated signage are among recent measures taken by the Shire to reduce erosion and warn visitors of cliff instability. Patrols have also been increased during the summer to monitor illegal parking and issue infringements where appropriate. Locals, however, are not convinced, with a number telling RPPV that the thrill seekers are returning. Parents are feeling the pinch as their children start the new school year. The Australian Scholarships Group estimates that Victorian parents spend up to $3,800 for state primary expenses and $5,300 for secondary school. This includes uniforms, fees, books, electronic devices and excursions. Struggling parents are encouraged to apply to the State Schools Relief Charity for help. A Cranbourne man has failed in his attempt to avoid heavy penalties by pretending to be his identical twin. The 23-year-old was pulled over last year while he was disqualified from driving. He pretended to be his twin who had a clean licence and was let go with just a penalty notice. But when his brother received the notice, he was furious and forced his lead-footed twin to confess to the police. The criminal half was fined and lost his licence for another 4 months. The Herald Sun's Leader paper has done a survey of the most popular dog breeds by council across Victoria. Locally, Staffordshire Bull Terriers are the most popular breed in Frankston, while Maltese Terriers reign supreme in Mornington. Port Phillip residents, on the other hand, favour the Cavoodle. But the most popular dog across the state is the ever-faithful Labrador. And now for the weather with Lisa.
Lisa Lenoble with the Mornington Peninsula 6-day forecast this Friday, the 31st of January. Let's take a look at what's in store for us this weekend and beyond. It's going to be a hot and humid one today with a minimum of 18 and a maximum of 38. Mostly sunny day, slight chance of a shower or a thunderstorm in the late afternoon and evening. Winds will be east to northeasterly, 25 to 35 k's, turning north to northwesterly, 25 to 40 k's in the middle of the day, then becoming light in the late evening. On Saturday, we'll see a minimum of 19 and a maximum of 30 degrees. Humid, cloudy, 90% chance of rain, most likely in the afternoon and evening. The chance of a thunderstorm is going to be in the morning and then again in the afternoon. Winds northerly 15 to 20 k's, shifting southwesterly 20 to 30 k's during the day. On Sunday, that lovely southerly from yesterday brings us some much cooler weather. We're looking at a minimum of 13 and a maximum of 22. Cloudy, 40% chance of shower in the morning. Winds will be west to southwesterly, 25 to 35 k's. On Monday, we'll see a minimum of 12 and a maximum of 19. Cloudy, medium chance of a shower. Winds westerly 20 to 30 k's, turning south to southwesterly 25 to 35 k's during the day. On Tuesday, we'll see a minimum of 11 and a maximum of 22 degrees. Partly cloudy, winds south to southwesterly, 25 to 35 k's, tending east to southeasterly, 25 to 30 k's later on in the day. On Wednesday, we'll have a minimum of 13 and a maximum of 25, mostly sunny. If you're looking for fun things to do and see on our beautiful Mornington Peninsula this weekend, why not check out www.visitmorningtonpeninsula.org. I'm Lisa Lenoble. Thanks so much for watching on RPPV. See you next week.
This is a point where we usually throw to our host on the coast with the most, Muzz, with the surf report. But as you all know, Muzz was recently caught up in the New Year bushfires and was evacuated by boat from Malakuta. This week he returned to the town. We go to him now for his thoughts on the experience.
Muzz, welcome back. It's good to have you back here in the studio, safe and sound. We believe that the Air Force has helped you out getting your stuff back from Malakuta. Tell us about it.
They have, Steve. The Air Force were fantastic. I had been registered with the Red Cross for a return evacuation back to Malakuta to pick up all my stuff. So I went through that whole process. And sort of Friday last week, I got the message to reply to if I could be at Essendon Airport by 6 a.m. Initially it was 7 a.m, but it got bumped back to 6 a.m. on Sunday morning, which was quite a call, being from down the peninsula. It was 3 o'clock in the morning up, and found my way at Essendon Airport thanks to my wife who drove me up there at that time of the morning because I didn't need to leave another car somewhere. I was going to have to sit there for 3 weeks waiting to get to. Anyway, yeah, so I got to fly back to Malakuta in a RAAF C-127, the smaller version of the Hercules plane. So, and that in itself was an amazing thing to happen. You know, I'd never thought in my entire life that I would be in a plane like that, as well as, you know, I've been in the Navy and I've been in the Army and I've been in the police force, and this is all in the space of 29 days. So, so it was quite amazing. They did a fantastic job, all the armed services, and I was lucky enough to be on a plane that had the number 2 policeman in Victoria on board, the Air Force media, Navy, Air Force photographers, as well as around about 25 locals and visitors returning back to Malakuta. So it was a nice short flight. We were lucky we didn't get delayed by smoke. A few of the other flights ended up having to go to Merimbula and be bussed back in, and one of the flights actually had to go back to Sale, sit in Sale, and finally got into Malakuta around about 7 o'clock at night. So I was in Malakuta by 9 o'clock in the morning, so an hour and 15 minutes after leaving Essendon, I was there, able to pick up my vehicle.
What was it like driving back?
The destruction of the forest is, in parts, nothing could have survived. It's, you know, there's bits that are just extremely burnt. There's parts where the gravel and roads falling away. The road itself, I thought, you know, wasn't quite as bad as what maybe they've made out, but there is sections across the Drummer Range where we were escorted. We had to do a convoy with the police leading us. And that was purely on a safety issue because a lot of the fences around that part have been taken out by fallen trees. And I think also by the road clearers. I think they just cleared the big logs off the road and took the fence out as they went along. It wasn't unsafe in that sense, but I can understand, you know, that the reasoning they do that. But once we got to Cairn River, we were no longer escorted. So from about 20 kilometres west of Genoa to Cairn River, we had an escort. Then after that, it was just drive home, free range. Good to come to an end of it now. So, you know, back. And the only thing I do need to say is when you get a chance, go down to these towns, Malakuta, Cairn River, when the road's open, you know, go and spend a couple of days down there, spend some money, because these towns have taken a massive hit, Malakuta especially, because it is off the main highway. And I did speak to the guys who own the Caltex service station, and their turnover's down by 80%, and for a town that relies on tourist income, you know, it's a beautiful place. If you've never been there, go and book yourself in and do a couple of days there. People are welcoming, and, you know, as I said, with a bit of rain, the destruction's a little bit more softened. You know, so yeah, go down there, spend some money.
Down to the host on the coast with the most, it's Muzz with his surf report.
Hello and welcome to this week's Mornington Peninsula Surf Report. So hopefully if you've got this afternoon off, you probably should get down the beaches and have a surf between Gunner and Portsea. There's some good fun small waves, and that will lead until tomorrow morning till around about lunchtime. Then we'll get a southwesterly change with a lot of wind and a lot of rain. And later in the week, looks like Monday will be the best day for surf. Although the winds aren't favourable, there'll be a fairly solid swell running. So if you've got your favourite protected spot to get to, that'll be it. Then later, maybe towards the end of next week, there'll be some beach break conditions again if the wind cooperates. It looks like it's going to be southeast rather than northeast. But this year's been one thing to choose is that every day is different. Look at the swell we had just last Monday. It wasn't predicted and it came out of the sky. So just keep your eye on what the weather's doing and go for a surf, because I am as soon as I'm done here.
And that's all from our team here at RPPV News, serving the community with stories that matter to you. Keep watching and tell your friends. Bringing you the news from coast to coast across the Mornington Peninsula, I'm Catie Sharp. See you for the next edition.
Thank you.